everyone?
Yes, Dr.
Is it slow? All right, so they are coming, yeah, slowly. So how's everyone? Yeah, we have people coming, yeah, hopefully, for the lecture, yeah, hopefully. Okay, so actually, still I wish everyone Selamat Hari Raya again, yeah. I know you're at home, but yeah, I mean, having the class, yeah, today is the first day, right? So how's your classes, Afiq? Amar? I think, sorry, just now I called Kishok, yeah? I just tried to see the functionalities that they provide. Kishok, how are you?
Yeah. Yes, doctor.
Okay, just now I just invite you for the class, yeah?
Yeah.
So you just finished your class just now?
No, this is the first class.
Oh, this is the first class. Okay, that's good. All right, so welcome back to the semester, yeah? So hope everyone have enjoyed your holidays. Yeah, I know it's quite long, but I wish that I hope everyone is following the class even though you are on leave, yeah? We have this class, yeah, for the requirements negotiation. So we're going to have another 2 classes, and hopefully the last week we'll just have discussion about your projects if you have any more questions about the final projects, yeah? But most likely, so these are the main content, yeah, of the material that we will be covering, yeah, for the semester. The next 2 lectures are still important. Just try to give you the process, and we discuss leisurely. Basically, next 2 weeks on one of the methods that we can use for requirements engineering process, yeah. But this week we're going to focus on one of the core activities, yeah. This is one of the core activities besides the others, yeah, that we have mentioned, and I hope you already also try to listen to the requirements validation lecture, yeah, the week before the semester break, yeah. Requirements validation also is one of the core activities, yeah, and there's a lot of materials there as well, yeah, that might actually need for you to read the textbook and or your references, yeah, to make sure that you follow the elements, yeah, that has been discussed, the techniques and so on. Okay, so today is quite light actually, requirements negotiation. You might have heard about negotiation. This is common for us most of the time in everyday life. We have to negotiate, and we mentioned that in requirements negotiation, basically the aim is to reach an agreement, yeah. So of course, when we have many stakeholders, we have many requirements. You have started. Thank you for recording this one. I forget to record that. All right. The one that record, then later on you download the recording and then please share with us, yeah, at the try to upload the file at the our team, yeah. Thank you. All right, so basically when we talk about requirements negotiation, yeah, we actually the aim is to reach an agreement. Yeah, we have mentioned that most of the time we have many stakeholders and then we have many requirements as well. So that is a close tendency. There is most likely, yeah, in most circumstances, there can be a lot of disagreement, yeah, that can occur in order to, to accept certain requirements, to accept certain kind of constraint and so on, yeah. So that's the reason most of the time, yeah, we have to follow, we have to actually try to make sure that we have a good discussion in order to reach an agreement. So today we're going to look at it a little bit more detail. Then, I'm sure some of you might have also, yeah, noticed that this is common, especially in business negotiation, yeah. When you took courses on business management, of course, they will have one particular issue, yeah, about negotiation as well, yeah. So, but now we are actually try to look at the strategies that can be taken from the other subjects, yeah. But basically, we try to understand as well what kind of courses, yeah, what kind of things that can occur, yeah, within the requirements engineering process. Okay, so we give you this, yeah, of course. You know that everywhere, yeah, during the negotiation, it will be wise not to take. So there can be several tips that people give to you, share to you, that these are the things that you need to do when you try to negotiate. You can use all these tips to make sure that you are, as a requirements engineer, be able to achieve your target, or try to reach an agreement. All right. So by saying that, so what is a requirements negotiation? Yeah, so in a simple definition, we can say that requirements negotiation is a process used to reach agreement among the stakeholders regarding focus. Yeah, we try to focus on regarding specifically on the requirements of the software to be developed. Yeah, so because our target in requirements engineering is to be able to provide a good basis for software development. So you want to have the requirements which are agreed by the stakeholders. Yeah, so the outcome of requirements negotiation at least should be able to provide the agreed functional requirements. Yeah, the agreed quality requirements. Yeah, in other words, also some people call it non-functional requirements. So most of the time we use the term quality requirements. Yeah, like the performance, the maintainability, and so on. And then we also would like to have the outcome in terms of the constraints, the agreed constraints, by the stakeholders. So agreements are used as the basis for system analysis, because if we are not able to have the agreed requirement, it's quite difficult to proceed to the next stage of analysis, design, implementation, testing, and so on. And we also mentioned that there is can be the negative outcome if we don't actually solve, or we don't have a good negotiation. So if we, in other words, if there is, what actually occur when there is a problem, usually we call it as a conflict. So unresolved conflict should be documented and managed as well, because it can lead to many other unacceptable circumstances, like the system will not be well accepted by the stakeholders. So that shouldn't be the outcome. We don't want to have such outcome, because most of the time we want the system to be well accepted by the stakeholders especially. So in order to do that, we have to ensure that is there any kind of conflicts that occur, we should be able to address them well. All right. Okay. So this is what, based on the literature, the studies, the research, previous studies have affirmed the importance of analyzing and negotiate conflicted requirements in order to develop a software system that is consistent with the business requirements. So it's very important that when we face, or we already identify certain conflicts, we should be able to analyze and try to negotiate the conflicted requirements. Try to resolve so that everyone that's involved will be satisfied with the outcome of the negotiation. So what can happen generally in the in the situation of a requirements engineering process? Generally, we say that the conflict, the disagreement can occur between stakeholders themselves. When the stakeholders have different opinions about certain functionalities. And then, or for example, when the customer asks you to make the system to do two things and you cannot be able to satisfy them, so that can also lead to conflict. There can also be another way. Conflict can also occur between requirements themselves. When the stakeholder asks you to make the system, but to another stakeholders come in and ask you to make to implement another functionalities, there is a possibility that these two functionality, request by stakeholder A might be conflicting with the requirement or functionalities requested by the stakeholder B. So that can be also conflicts between requirements. Not just the opinion just now that we mentioned, there can also be a conflict between the requirements themselves, due to the functionalities, and so that is also can occur, And also sometimes there can be conflicts can also occur between the agreed requirements with the project vision. So later on, when we try to do review and validation, during the validation process, maybe some of the requirements engineer, a few of the requirements engineer or the stakeholders might find out that certain requirements are actually conflicting with the project vision or the goals of the the whole projects. So that also can can give rise to conflict. So they can question why this kind of requirements occur and so on. Why should we have this kind of requirement? Because it's against, or it's not supporting the project visions or the project goals. So this can also give rise to conflicts. Yeah. So therefore, it's important. Yeah, we want to emphasize again in this case that conflict management is critical, is crucial in order to ensure that the requirements are well negotiated and accepted or agreed by all the stakeholders. All right, so we go and discuss about conflict. Yeah, we said that several times. So what is a conflict actually? A conflict in requirements engineering exists if the needs and wishes of different stakeholders regarding the system contradict each other, or some of the needs, if needs and wishes cannot be considered. If we cannot consider, that can also be leading to conflict. Yeah, so unresolved conflict can have negative impacts. I'm not saying that is very negative, but most of the unresolved conflict can lead to negative impacts on the stakeholders' acceptance of the systems. Most of the time we have to know that the system is successful if it's able to satisfy most of the stakeholders. That means, in other words, the stakeholders are going to accept them. If there occurs a lot of conflicts or some kind of conflicts that can hinder the acceptance of the stakeholders, that can lead to, another way, unacceptable systems. They won't accept the systems, and then it's not going to be successful. You have heard of the projects, what they call it as a white elephant. The systems are grand, everything, a lot of functionalities, but the users or the stakeholders do not want to accept that. So it's no use. It's not going to be useful to organization and to the stakeholders. So it's considered not successful projects. So the key thing, most of the time, we want the system to be accepted by the stakeholders in order to avoid the the acceptance of the stakeholders. We have to ensure that we're going to resolve if there is any conflict that occur. In other words, we're saying that conflict, if we want to look at the positive side of conflict, there is some benefit, of course. Conflict can be considered positive because sometimes due to the conflict, we discuss more, we get more ideas, we get more clarification, and this can give rise to the new ideas and innovative requirements. New things that we have not thought before. Due to the discussion that we have. So that can also be positive. All right, so we try to, structure what are the tasks that can be done. This is the recommended holistic task that we can use in order to manage conflict in requirements negotiation. So we highlight here at least 4 tasks, important tasks that we need to do in order to manage conflicts well. Basically the first one is conflicts identification. Of course, there can be a lot of possibly some conflicts which is not well manifested. So we have to actually identify those conflicts during requirements engineering activities. And then we have to analyze them. We have to analyze, determine the reason of the identified conflicts. And then we try to classify in terms of types later on as well. And then after that, we need to resolve them. There can be several strategies that we can adopt from the business side. And even here, recommended in our lecture here, a few steps that you can take to resolve the conflicts. And then after that, you have to document them. Because the rationale, we have to document the conflict so that the main reason is that we do not want them to occur again. Or if it is occurred, if the conflict arise again, we can use the appropriate measure that's already been documented. So this also very important. Okay, we go in detail a little bit. Where we talk about identification, conflicts identification, because conflicts can occur anywhere, in any, most of the activities in RE, So we have to be observant, as the requirements engineer, we have to be observant. It can occur, for example, during requirements elicitation, where we have 2 stakeholders, one stakeholder is talking about some kind of requirements which can be contradicting to another one. Another one may ask for the functionalities that, for example, the functionalities that you'll be able to see in the big screen. Another fellow said no. They don't want to have that one. It's going to be a waste of money. So why not have small screen? So that can also be conflicting. And it can also be happening or occurring during the requirements documentation. So when the requirements engineer detects the conflicts, when they try to document and read the requirements documentation, they might see that some of the requirements can be conflicting. So that can also be detected during that requirements documentation time. And also can occur during requirements management. When they try to analyze the requirements in terms of try to assess the requirements in terms of its priority, which one is more important and so on. So that can also have, the stakeholders can also have differing opinion regarding the importance of the requirements. In other words, the priority of the requirements. So conflict can also occur during that time. And also can occur during requirements validation. Because a conflict between the correctness of the requirements. Because some when they try to validate the requirements, maybe one stakeholder said that these requirements should be this way, and then another one said no. This is incorrect. We should have different kind of requirements. So during validation, where we already write, requirements engineer already write those requirements, already specified them, and then show to the stakeholders to be validated. During that time, the stakeholders may have different view, and maybe another stakeholders as well may have different view. So that can also occur, that can give rise to conflict as well. And conflict can also occur during negotiation. We talk about this. A new conflict, after we resolve one, maybe there can be another one. In which we saw that the requirements is actually against the project vision or against the target of the projects, against the goal of the projects. So this can also, lead to some kind of disagreement between the stakeholders. So in other words, we're saying here that conflict can occur anywhere, in any of the activities, within the requirements engineering process, any of the activities, So we have to be, observant about the stakeholders involved, how actually they see the requirements, what kind of disagreement do they have, regarding all this, requirements and constraint that we have collected. All right. And then what we said as well, most of the time, when we have the relevant stakeholders, because most of the conflict occur because the stakeholders knows about the things, They are actually the owner of these requirements, So that means when they have the technical experts or they have all this capability, they are able to voice out their opinions, So that's why we said as well, you should be able, we try to actually, you see? Cannot see that. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just. Oh, they have different. Do you see it well? I think I have it. I just accidentally pressed something. Oh, now they're browsing. Is it fine? Everybody can see this, Yes? Afiq?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, I just accidentally pressed something just now. Okay, so we're talking about so involving the right stakeholders, okay? So for example, the stakeholders from technical and project management would be able to identify conflicts about the programming languages that need to be used versus the project budgets and human resource. So you see that if you involve the correct or relevant stakeholders for the discussion about the requirements to give you feedbacks, most of the time there can be a lot of opinions during that time because they are actually they are expert in the area. So it's good actually to invite the relevant stakeholders to voice out their opinions. At the same time, you have to be aware that there's a possibility of having the conflict can arise. So you should be prepared on handling that one. So in other words, we say that we should, in most of the time, in most of the activities that we go through, where we try to handle requirements engineering process, we should involve the right stakeholders. Similarly, when we actually try to have good requirements negotiation process, we should also involve the relevant stakeholders. So this is critical. This is crucial, basically. All right, so the next thing is we need to analyze the conflicts. Yeah, you know, once you know that there exists a conflict, you detect the conflicts, and then you know who's involved. Yeah, and then you know, I mean, what are the things that they try to, they have different opinions about. So you have to actually identify the conflict types. Yeah, we in this lecture, and of course, most of the courses on requirements negotiation, they will actually provide you with some kind of types. Yeah, common types that usually occur, conflict types that usually occur, and then also advise you on what kind of strategies that we can use to be able to resolve this. So basically, in this case, we said that there can be at least 5 types of conflicts. 5 types of conflicts, which are the first one is data conflicts. Second one is interest conflicts. The third one is value conflicts. The third one is relationship conflicts, and the fifth one is structural conflicts. So these are the basic lah. Basically, of course, if you learn about psychology, it can be more. But at least these are the 5 basic types of conflicts. That we can actually describe about its features. And the first 3, we try to focus more on the first 3 because the fourth and the fifth one is more towards relationships. Relationship conflict is, for example, there can be some kind of emotion between 2 employees or what we call 2 personnel. It's quite difficult to resolve, basically. But if possible, if you are trying to handle a kind of process, requirements engineering process, if you think that the relationship conflict exists between several of your stakeholders, it's best not to include them in one sitting. It's best to, because in order to resolve basically the relation conflicts may take a long time, because it's already kind of this what we call hatred or whatever between people. It's quite difficult to resolve them in a very short time. Similarly, for the structural conflicts as well. The difference between relationship conflicts and the structural conflicts is more structural is between the superior, your supervisor, for example, with you, the one that is higher level, between the superior and its subordinate, for example. So if structural as well is quite difficult sometimes because based on their experience and so on, they might have some kind of prejudice and so on. That is difficult to resolve in a very short time. So if possible, what is the recommendation? If you notice that they already, or based on your information from people and so on, that there exists some kind of structural or relationship conflicts between these 2 people, it's best not to put them in one group, so that you already avoid having this kind of conflicts, But the other 3, I would say, there are ways to handle them, So we try to define a little bit on data conflict. So I mean by data conflicts is characterized by having a wrong information or misinformation, or maybe one of the stakeholders may have incomplete information or in a different, what you call different interpretation, of the meaning from another stakeholders, So that is what we characterize as data conflicts, And then the second type of conflict is what we refer as the interest conflicts, in which the stakeholders may have different needs. Their goals are different, their interests are different, So they may have procedural interests, or they can have some kind of psychological interest. So that can also lead to conflict, And then we can have the third one is value conflict, basically, where they will have different way of life, everyone, every person especially, they have different value. Value here meaning that it's not in terms of worth, It's more towards, the principle, the standard that they have towards certain things, or their judgment about what is important in their life. So that's what is value. So value actually, is based on their background sometimes, where they come from, or maybe different, different ideologies or belief that lead them to hold those kind of values. But there is a potential strategy to handle value conflict. And the fourth one, like I mentioned earlier, relationship conflict is characterized by some kind of strong emotion, deficient. They might not want to be able to talk to each other, maybe deficiency in communication, or some kind of negative interpersonal behavior between the stakeholders. And then another one is the fifth one is structural conflict. We mentioned just now as well, but it's more towards about the level between the higher authority with the lower authority, between the superior and the subordinate. Structural conflict can be characterized by still strong emotion, deficiency in communication, and some kind of negative interpersonal behavior between stakeholders. All right. So you might want to.
Doctor.
Yeah, sure.
Interrupt you. I think that your slides are not following. Are you still on slide 9 on your screen? It's been a while that we only see slide 9.
Oh, really? Okay, I try to present again. I think I'm sorry, got something wrong here.
No worries.
Oh, hold on. Okay, this one you can see. Better?
Yeah, we still see. Now we're on slide 10. Yeah.
You can see the 10, yeah? All right. Sorry, I think I pressed certain button just now. I'm sorry, I'm not sure which one. Okay, so we already discussed about the 5 types of conflicts, right? And then we mentioned as well the characteristics of these conflicts. The data conflicts is characterized by the wrong information or incomplete information about the requirements, maybe different interpretation of the meaning of the requirements, and can be also different views on what is relevant, yeah? And then we have the interest conflicts, yeah? Stakeholders have factually different needs that contradict each other. It can be, different in terms of their interests, their goals, yeah? It can be in terms of procedural interests or psychological interests, yeah? And then we have value conflicts is characterized by different way of life. Because you can see that people have different principles, or standard of behavior, or certain kind of different judgment about what is right and what is wrong. So that is what refers to value. And fourth types of conflict is what we refer as a relationship conflict. Just now I mentioned, and it's actually between the people. They might have some kind of conflicts, due to the certain experience that they have before, negative interpersonal behavior among them, so that is also what we refer as the relationship conflicts. And what's the difference between relationship conflicts and the structural? Basically, structural conflict is characterized by the relationship or the negative interpersonal behavior between the upper subordinate with the superior and the subordinate. So that is what we refer as a structural conflicts. And mainly we said that this one you can look at yourself, the video. We can say that we try to focus on the first 3 types, because this is quite quite much easier for us to address them rather than the last 2. And I also mentioned just now what is recommended most of the time, if you notice that there exists some kind of relationship conflicts or the structural conflict, is to actually make sure that those people involved are actually put in separate groups, so that you be able to handle them better. Okay. All right, back to our case of try to see how we can analyze the conflicts. So what is recommended is these few steps. Of course you can make use of your judgment as well, but this is a kind of heuristics, based on experience of people, how actually they go about looking for, try to identify actually what kind of conflict there exists between these things. Of course, the first step, we have to rule out as well. The first thing, we have to check out that actually there doesn't exist any structural and relationship conflicts. If this occur, then we have to deal it separately. It's quite difficult. We have to make sure. It may take some time. But the second step, the step 2, actually, if you rule out that there is no structural relationship that exists between them, or any relationship conflicts that exist between them, what we can consider is to check for data conflicts, yeah, because some people have different view because they have different understanding, or they may be given different information or misinformation, yeah. So what we can do is we can call the stakeholders involved and then ask them to actually explain to us what do they understand about the requirements that we are discussing, yeah. You need to check out, yeah, you need to check whether they actually have the correct information or not. You know, both, yeah. Maybe if there are two stakeholders involved in the conflict, then you might want to ask stakeholder A, what do you understand about these requirements, and then what do you understand about, you can ask stakeholders B as well. So you can see whether they are lacking, or maybe they have incorrect information about requirements. So you have to supplement them. If you've noticed that they have the misinformation, then you know that, oh, of course, these are actually due to the data conflicts. There exist data conflicts here, meaning that they don't have, they actually in conflict because of not enough information or insufficient information or misinformation about the requirements. All right. And then if you think that this is not, they are actually telling you everything which is actually acceptable, then you might want to check, the next step is to check for interest conflicts. Yeah. You might want to see, you know, you want to ask the stakeholders about their vision, their goals, yeah, with regard to the developing software, or if they actually have only certain conflict between certain requirements, yeah. So you might want to ask them, for these requirements, what is your goal? And then for another stakeholder as well. So you can try to see whether they have conflicting goals, yeah. And if possible, if you think that really, yeah, they have these conflicting goals, then you might want to ask them to discuss, you know, how we can go try to, you know, compromise the goals, or try to find the one that is have a common goal. How do you can reach the common goals, yeah, between this, yeah. So that's also way, yeah. But if the goals are different, meaning that they are having conflict because of the interests, yeah, interest conflicts. And then if this is also not, you know, you cannot find anything which is not so much of the, difference between the goals that they have, you might go to step 4, checking for value conflicts, yeah. And this is more difficult, yeah. And of course, yeah, most of the time, if you cannot reach, you already reach, and then you say that there is no data conflicts, there is no interest conflict, so most likely they will be facing value conflicts, yeah. So you can ask your stakeholders to provide the rationales, and maybe you might need to identify as well what kind of background the stakeholders are. Actually, they come from which background. Are they, some people, they have conflict because they have, you know, these people are looking from the angle of the technicalities, and this another fellow values, their values are in terms of trying to make simplicity. So their values are different, yeah. So in this case, you might want to have certain strategies, yeah, to resolve this kind of conflicts. Yeah, we're going to discuss in the next coming page, yeah, on the basic strategies for resolving these 3 types of conflicts, yeah. So of course, yeah, it's limited, but at least it's going to be useful most of the time. These 3 basic strategies for resolving conflicts are the negotiation, yeah, in which we try to ask them to, you know, try to find out, yeah, what actually can be resolved, yeah. They try to compromise, yeah, in between, yeah. The second one is a creative solutions, yeah. The original viewpoint of the conflict parties are discarded, and then we give, or maybe together we come up with a new creative solution, yeah, to harmonize the viewpoint of the conflict, yeah. And if still, yeah, if the previous 2 strategies are not adequate, then another option, another strategy is to provide the decision, yeah. Sometimes due to the, you know, circumstances, you know, in which most of the stakeholders cannot accept these things and so on. So then if they request for, if there is available higher authority in the situation, for example, the client, yeah, that is actually, or the sponsor of the projects, and that think that this is what they want, yeah, and the other stakeholders actually respect this kind of a client, then they might give in, yeah, to the decision made by the client, yeah. Or also maybe for a bit of coming from the project managers who think that this is the best thing. The project manager may decide this is the best, you know, way to actually resolve this kind of conflict. So they might give the decision from the project managers, yeah, depending on the circumstance. Okay, So basically, there are three basic strategies: negotiation, creative solution, and decisions. We're going to look at how examples and as well as, what are the way that we can make use of these three strategies in the three types of conflicts that we discussed earlier. Okay, let's see. The first one here is example of conflicts, in terms of the first type, Basically, the car safety system shall be equipped with radar technology in order to monitor the traffic ahead of the car, And then there is a conflict between two stakeholders, A and B, regarding the distance up to which the radar sensor shall monitor the traffic in front of the car. So you see that sometimes just small matters, but they can give to some kind of disagreement or conflict. In this case, we give you simple examples. The stakeholders A thinks that the distance should be 500 meters, and stakeholder B think that is 200 meters. All right, so we can actually resolve this conflicts by, for example, if you think that this not going to be have negative impacts and so on, it's not going to be resulting in some risk and so on, it's just a matter of distance, for example. So we can resolve by negotiation, by carrying out or exchanging information and arguments and opinions, and try to resolve. Okay, if one say 500, another one said that just now is 200, and then why don't we try to try to compromise between the two range, between 500 and 300, 500 and 200, the solution can range between the different viewpoint, it can be acceptable. For example, in between will be 300 or 400, so that is kind of negotiation that can be performed, All right, so resolving conflict by negotiation is carried out by exchanging information, arguments, and opinions. So this can be resolved if both parties, both stakeholders are able to accept the kind of differences that is there provided in the ranges. All right. Another way to resolve is what we refer as the creative solutions strategy just now. Resolving conflict by creative solution is carried out by discarding the old view, and then we develop the new viewpoint, which is acceptable by all the stakeholders involved. So, for example, there can be circumstances in which the stakeholder requests for some kind of X sensors. Another fellow asking for, Y sensors. Different types of sensors. So it's difficult to resolve because of a lot of issues, maybe due to the budgets and so on. So they propose a new viewpoint. Why don't you use laser sensor? Another solution, another types of solution. If the stakeholders are able to accept, there will be very much, a good point here, because we are able to come up with a new creative solutions. And the third type we demonstrate here, resolving conflict by decision, is carried out by some kind of a decision maker. You have to have this in the project. If it's not there, then we have to, identify the one that can give, a decision, can make a decision that is acceptable for all. So it's also difficult sometimes, because we don't want to actually receive or, bias towards certain stakeholders and try to ignore another stakeholders. So we have to, when there is a situation that is acceptable, in which every stakeholders involved actually accept this decision, is best to do that. If not, then it's avoid. This strategy should be avoided, in which there can be the cases in which we try to ignore certain parties, and try to be biased with another one. So resolving conflict by decision is carried out by decision maker. Usually the higher authority, and in this case, for example, the conflict exists between two developers just now, So the client is involved as a higher authority. Usually we say that the client is always the boss, right? So the client will decide that the client decides that the detection range should be 500. So the client make the decision, which will be accepted by the stakeholders involved, or the developers, involved in the conflict just now. Okay, so now we're going to discuss about which strategy is best to be used, in these three types of conflicts. So we also mentioned again that sometimes it so much depends on the situation. You have to be very, very sensitive to the situation. We cannot just say, okay, if they have data conflict, this is the only way to resolve. Yeah, that's not necessarily. Yeah, we have to actually be aware. Yeah, there can be many other factors that can influence the strategy that we take. Yeah, but of course, in this case, in this lecture, we try to give you some kind of hint lah. Yeah, some kind of tips. Yeah, on how best to handle data conflicts, interest conflicts, and value conflicts using appropriate strategies like negotiation, and which one is the most suitable and which one is less suitable, and so on. Yeah, and which one is maybe not so much suitable to be used for that kind of situation. Okay. Okay, so having said that, so we said data conflict just now is based on misinformation. Yeah, misinterpretation of stakeholders, and usually creative solution would be based on incomplete and incorrect information as well. Yeah, so in this case, that for data conflicts, basically, it's recommended to use negotiation. Yeah, it's more suitable to use negotiation, and not so much on the. Sorry, it's not actually here. I'm sorry, the notes are not. I mean, it's not clear. For data conflict, it's not suitable to use creative solutions. Yeah, most of the time you said that the strategy for decision to be taken should be applied when conflict cannot be resolved anymore. If you find that the negotiation strategy is not working, then maybe we can try to resolve using a decision strategy. Yeah, so I give you the more elaborative description a little bit. Yeah, so for data conflicts, according to the tips, negotiation strategy is the best. Yeah, it's most suitable. Yeah, because most of the time you have to exchange for when there exists data conflict. That means some kind of misinformation occur actually. Yeah, there can be one stakeholders may misinterpret certain requirements, or they may have a lack of information, or they may have some incorrect information. So by exchanging additional and relevant information, a data conflict usually can be resolved. Yeah, so negotiation strategy is best or is recommended to be used for data conflict. But for creative, for data conflict, it's not suitable to use creative solutions according to this. Because data conflict is based on misinformation and misinterpretation. So, and it's opposite of creative solution. Because creative solution would be based on incomplete or incorrect information. When you try to propose something, you're not so sure yet because this is new. So actually, it doesn't actually serve the purpose of try to resolve data conflict. So a creative solution in this case is said that it's not so much suitable to handle data conflict. All right. And we said that again for decision strategies is not suitable unless there is no other way out. Decision could be made in favor of the wrong viewpoint due to missing information or misunderstanding. So decision strategy is not highly it's not so much recommended to address data conflict unless there is when there is what we refer as we cannot have any other way out. The negotiation doesn't work and so on. So that's the reason we can try to resort to a decision strategy. I think it's a conflict here as well because this table say it's suitable, but the write-up say it's not suitable. So that's why I said this is like conditional. Conditional, I would say here, you better type here, is conditional suitable. It depends on the condition. Most of the time it may not be so much suitable unless you face the end of the road. So maybe you can use the decision strategy. Okay. All right, another one. How do we deal with interest conflict? So interest conflict, or what we call as a goal conflicts. Most of the time you can actually use negotiation strategy. First, we have to negotiate towards a solution, considering the interest of each conflicting party. So we know that, for example, stakeholder A have this goal. We ask them for the goal. We clarify them, ask them what kind of goal that they have, and then we also ask stakeholder B their goals. And then we try to negotiate toward the solution, towards the common goal. and then try to achieve, deal with each conflicting interest and goals separately, and then achieve the agreement on the acceptance of conflicting interests of one party to the other parties. In other words, we try to, make sure that we are able to find out which are the common goals between them. Yeah. So one of the way to use negotiation, as the way to address these interest conflicts. Yeah. And then in terms of creative solution strategy, we said that for most of the time, the goal and interest need to be harmonized and substituted by new goals. So having to propose creative solution, they say it's not so good. Yeah, it's not so suitable. Yeah, because that means when they already have some kind of goals in their mind. Yeah, when we introduce them a new solution, this new solution can have different goal. Yeah, so we have to resolve again. Yeah, so that is a problem. Yeah, so it's not so much suitable to use creative solution decision. Okay, another strategy, the decision should be applied when interest conflict cannot be resolved. Yeah, the last resort, if these two negotiation strategy doesn't work, the creative solution strategy also doesn't work, then we have to resort to the decision strategy. All right. All right. So the third types of conflict just now, is what we refer as the value conflicts. Yeah. So in this case, it's best to use creative solutions, and if not possible, then the other two choices, negotiation and decision strategies may be suitable, according to the conditions that they have. Yeah. So the descriptions here say that for value conflicts here, you have to act sensitively, because they are dealing with the people's principles. Sometimes they are not able to tolerate their principles, since the conflict may offend their stakeholders' personal values. So you might want to negotiate, if possible, but values are often deeply rooted in the stakeholders' personality, and it cannot be easily changed in one day or 1 month. Sometimes, so that's why if not possible, then maybe it's not so much suitable to use negotiation, similarly to the decision, because sometimes the values of the conflict parties are not reconcilable. So if you just say, okay, based on this, we're going to select and decide using this, you may offend the stakeholders. So that may not be the best solutions, unless the stakeholders themselves think that, why do you decide first? So that one's easier, so that they can be acceptable as one of the strategy. But for most of the time, the one that is more suitable, or the strategy that is more suitable is to use the creative solution, because you cannot handle, you cannot actually find the common goals, or you cannot actually try to resolve their values. You cannot find common values among them. So why don't you propose a new thing? You should be considered, you should actually give them another alternative. Why do you try this? Why do you think about this? Different requirements. Can this be the substitute, or try to be the one that can be acceptable by both stakeholders, by both parties? So that is the reason, according to the author, why don't we use creative solution as a good strategy to resolve value conflict? I know it's very, very but when you try to make sense of that, this is logical. This is happening in our everyday life as well, when we see the conflicts that they have. So if you want to apply that, you can do that. Most of the time, in your families and so on. During your studies as well. You can see that there can exist conflicts between your friends and so on. So if you want to apply this, then you try to identify first what kind of conflict do they have, and based on that, you might want to try some strategy to resolve those conflicts. Okay, the last phase, or the last task of try to manage the conflicts, is to document the details of requirements negotiation. It's important, because we don't want them to occur. We want to avoid repeated treatments of conflicts. And then if we sometimes after a certain while, after the conflicts have been resolved, might be later on, in the following phases of development and so on, the conflict can occur again, can arise again. So if we already document them, together with the rationale and also the way that we resolve them, we can just easily show to the involved parties. So this has been resolved. This is the way that you have accepted the agreement that we have actually tried to resolve previously. So there's no waste of time, yeah, because you already have proper documentation about the resolutions that you have done, yeah, in order to resolve the conflicts. Okay, so this is also very important task, yeah. Besides identifying it and try to resolve them, you have to have a proper documentation of the requirement solutions, yeah, conflict resolutions that you have performed. Okay, so we said that again, yeah, even though we go and look at the conflicts and then the way that we can deal with the conflicts, yeah, the key things here, we have to always know that requirements negotiation, in terms of requirements negotiation, is basically about disagreement, yeah, disagreement about requirements, and then this disagreement actually is there, yeah, most of the time is inevitable, is there, yeah, and you cannot avoid it, yeah, when the system has many stakeholders. So conflicts are not failures. You have to be positive about it, but try to also reflect, yeah, based on their different needs and priorities, yeah. So you have to take it as a challenge, yeah, because conflicts can always occur anywhere, yeah, in any of the activities, yeah, within the requirements engineering process, yeah. And requirements negotiation is the process of discussing requirement conflicts and reaching a compromise that all stakeholders can agree to. And then in planning a requirements in the process, it's important to leave enough time for negotiation. Yeah, so of course we have, you know, requirements activities that we have, elicitation and so on, yeah, and then we're going to specify them and then going to validate them. So you need to also allocate some time for negotiation, yeah, because you need to have the agreement from most of the stakeholders, yeah, and usually acceptable compromise can be time consuming, yeah, to be able for them to accept, yeah, the agreement may take some time as well to explain to them, yeah, about the facts, about all these things, yeah, may take some time, yeah. And then we said again, the customer and the developer enter a process of negotiation where the customer may be asked to balance functional. So this is the negotiating requirements lah, yeah. And the best negotiations strive for a win-win result. So of course there can be, you know, when you try to negotiate, we said just now is about resolving conflicts, right? Now is in general, we talk about best negotiation, yeah, where we try to have you know, several stakeholders that have a conflicts, you know, there can be many ways on how to resolve how to actually implement the negotiation, yeah. So there can be several techniques actually. What we're going to discuss here is just one technique, yeah, what we call as a win-win results, yeah. Most of the time, of course, yeah, we want everyone to be having a good, I mean, after they finish the conflicts, after we resolve the conflict, they are in a good term. Yeah, in order to do that, we have to make sure that both, I mean, the stakeholders involved are in the win-win results. They have the win-win results, and then that, I mean, based on that, they will be able to accept the system. They'll be happy, yeah, to support our system. Yeah, so that's the reason we say one of the best negotiation process should be for the win-win results. Yeah, in which the customer win by getting the system that satisfies the majority of the customer's need, and the software teams win by working to realistic and achievable budgets and deadlines. Yeah. So we discussed a short while here on one of the approach here. What we said, there are several other things that I mentioned just now. Can be interaction metrics and so on that he used to be able to do negotiation. Yeah. But it's a good exposure. We just look at one of these, which is one of the what we call well-known techniques, that has been proposed by Boyum. You have heard of Boyum, I'm sure. Yeah, several models of software engineering model has been also developed by Boyum, like the spiral model and so on. Yeah, so Boyum also proposed a win-win approach, yeah, for negotiation techniques. Yeah, and according to him, the goal of win-win approach is to make all stakeholders become winners. Yeah. And these are the steps that he recommends. Yeah, you have to actually, follow this in order to make sure that everyone win. Yeah, in the negotiation. Yeah, but of course it's much so. I mean, your expertise or the skill that you have though is important. Yeah, to ensure that the stakeholder feel that they are in the win-win situation. Yeah, all right. First is to understand how stakeholders want to win. Yeah, in most of the case when we're dealing with people, the stakeholders, actually, their thinking, yeah, the way that they look at it, yeah, it will be different. Yeah, maybe stakeholder considered that they win by having this benefit A. Yeah, but maybe stakeholders B thinks that they will be winning if they have this another benefit B. So the benefit can be different. The way that they look at things can be different. So it's the job of the requirements engineer. Try to find out what each stakeholder consider as the benefit for himself. Yeah. Maybe some stakeholders some stakeholders might think that it's beneficial to reduce the cost of the projects. That can be the benefit. Yeah. But maybe another stakeholders think that for them to win or this the benefit if they can have many features. Yeah, the more features that they will have is more beneficial. Yeah, so by knowing that, then you be able to satisfy to make them feel that they are benefiting, yeah, from the negotiation. Yeah, so that is the first step. All right. And then the second step is to raise adequate expectation. Yeah. So how do we do that? It's recommended to have a joint discussion about the stakeholders' expectation. You know, most of the time, if you have a very high expectation, and then, for example, you want to have the A in your class today, for example, I'm giving you, but when you come in and then you get a B, of course, that will be very, you feel you are at the losing end, yeah, because you expect A, but people give you B, yeah. But for someone else, they might be expecting a B, but they get B+. That is already very good for them, because for them, they just expect the B, you know, because people can have different expectation, yeah. So that is the reason we have to make sure that we know their expectation, because it's very important. If not, then you're not going to make them happy, not satisfied, yeah, because we cannot manage or know about what they expect from that, course, or the negotiation and so on, yeah. So it's recommended here to have a joint discussion about stakeholder expectation, and then you try to also be empathy, basically putting oneself in other stakeholder place, and then you can have some expectation. Try to define some expectation. Expectation shall be defined based on objective criteria, and then expectation shall be oriented towards experience as well. So you try to manage basically expectation, try to define them, try to make sure, you know, all the stakeholders involved have certain kind of a similar expectation. All right, so or try to avoid unrealistic expectation as well. So when they have the expectation, manageable expectation, then you're able to make them win, basically, yeah. So if not, then there can be stakeholders A thinking that they want 10 features. Another stakeholders thinks that they want to have 20 features. So you don't know about the expectation. You just come in and say you're discussing about just 5 features. So you're not going to satisfy any of them because they have so high the expectation that you don't know about. That's what it means, yeah. So this is way to also perform, that what we call as the try to negotiate, and try to make it a win-win approach. Yeah, understand how stakeholders want to win, raise the adequate expectation, understand how the expectations are, try to actually putting oneself, try to understand their place, and then try to define the expectation for the objective criteria, and also expectation should be oriented towards the experience as well. Yeah, so based on this, you'll be able to manage their expectation as well as giving them what they want, basically. Yeah. Okay, let's see 3 situation here. All right. I think Kishore is here. Kishore, can you help me to read this one?
Sure, Doctor. For the motorcycle safety system, stakeholder X proposes a function monitoring the temperature of the brake disc. To develop this function, the stakeholders must abandon other functions of the motorcycle safety system because available resources are limited. Stakeholder X is the winner because his function is implemented. Other stakeholders whose functions are not implemented due to this are the losers.
Do you agree this is win-lose situation, Kishore?
Yes.
All right. So this is another one. Akmal, you want to read for me, Akmal? Are you there? Okay, thank you.
Lose-lose situation. Stakeholder Y tries to propose some functions for a home security system against the resistance of another stakeholder Z. Next, stakeholder Y rejects function that stakeholder Z proposed for that system. In the end, neither of the two function is implemented because they are not able to resolve the conflict in time. Both stakeholders are losers.
All right. So you agree with me? These are lose-lose situation?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Akmal. All right, the last one here. Mariana, you want to read for me? Marihana. Marihana, is it? Marihana. You are there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you.
Two stakeholders ask for the system functionalities that exclude each other. During the negotiation of this conflict, the involved parties agreed that two versions of the system shall be implemented. The two sets are mutually exclusive functions. Both stakeholders are winners for this conflict.
Do you agree this is win-win situation?
Yes.
Yeah, so of course it's quite difficult sometimes, yeah, to achieve this situation, yeah. But if possible, yeah, looking at the steps that is recommended, yeah, is a possibility that we try to make sure that when we have in a negotiation, we can, create some kind of a win-win situation, yeah, for our stakeholders, right? Thank you. All right, for the participation, thank you. Okay, so this is the recommendation as well, yeah, to wrap up what we mentioned about the win-win situation just now. Conflict resolution by creating a win-win situation provides some kind of confidence, yeah, among stakeholders and increase their willingness to make a compromise, and also create mutual understanding, scale down immoderate expectation, and reduce unrealistic requirements will most likely result in fewer conflicts, yeah. Steps as well, yeah, that is recommended. So basically, yeah, I just summarized that thing actually, yeah. So these are the things that we have mentioned here as well. Kishore, yes? What do you say, Kishore? Oh, okay, Kishore, I discuss with you after finish this lecture.
Okay, Doctor.
All right, sorry. Okay, so basically we have looked at, for this lecture, we have discussed about managing conflicts, yeah, looking at the steps and the 4 tasks that we need to do, yeah, identifying, analyzing, resolving, and documenting conflicts. And then we can also say, especially for the interest conflicts, that we can use goals and scenarios to help in requirements, yeah, resolving requirements as well as requirements negotiation as well, yeah. And conflicts may arise during all RE activities, all requirements injury activities, elicitation, validations, management, and most of the times are not easy to be detected. Yeah? And conflicts can be classified into 5 types. Yeah, we have focused on the first 3. Yeah, because the other 2 relationships and the structural conflicts are quite more difficult to be addressed. Yeah. And we said that there can be 3 strategies that we can use, basic strategies for try to resolve conflicts, yeah, creative negotiation, creative solution, and decision, yeah, strategies, yeah. These are basic strategies, yeah. You might want to make use of them in a proper way in addressing those 3 types of conflicts. They can also be sometimes, combination of strategies that can be used. Basically, depends on the situation. And we also have discussed to you, maybe most of the experts, yeah, would agree that, for negotiation, it's best to use this the win-win approach, yeah, to make sure that the stakeholders will not feel, yeah, the negative impacts of the conflicts, and they'll be able to actually accept, be able to support your system, yeah, later on, yeah, after the resolution of the conflicts. So basically, that's all about this lecture, yeah, about the what we call requirements negotiation, yeah. And of course, I would recommend that you try to read the textbook that has been shared with you, and also read through the maybe some other references, if necessary. Yeah, I put references here. Yeah, so the references, yeah, on actually how, requirements conflicts and so on. Yeah, maybe some kind of new strategies that has been proposed as well in dealing with requirements conflicts. Yeah, okay. So I think that's all. Kishore is asking me about what? Kishore, is a must for it to be a web-based system. Yes, for these projects, I think I want you to have to focus on the web-based. Yeah, why? Because I think when you have a web-based system is that you might be more creative. Yeah, it's not limited because when you try to develop mobile apps, usually you have a very, because of the, mobility, right? You tend to focus on the small functionalities. Yeah, you're not actually be able to provide more creative things, yeah, because you think it's not enough. Mobile, right? Especially the mobile phone and so on, they have limited space, limited storage, and so on. So most of the functionalities are quite simple, quite straightforward, yeah. So what I want you, if you develop web-based systems, now you're not going to develop the whole web-based systems. Don't worry about that. But this just developing their requirements, yeah, requirements document. So you can be more creative, yeah. Try to come up what are the possible functionalities that you can provide in terms of the functional requirements, in terms of quality requirements, what kind of things that you can actually provide. Yeah, don't worry about implementation, but at least you provide to me all your creativity. Try to make use of your creativity to be able to propose for this system. So that's the reason, Kishore. Is it clear?
Thank you, Doctor. Also, in the project description, it
Yes.
says we have to include lessons learned, but there is no section for lessons learned in
Just
our
add in.
SRS.
Sorry. Just
Okay.
add in actually. I just want to, yeah, just add in at the end so that I see what do you think, yeah, that you have learned from the previous system that has been developed.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. Sorry, I should explain to you about that. But just add in at the end of the report. Yeah. It's one of the section for lesson learned. Clear, Ishak? Any more questions?
Doctor, I have one question about the project.
Louder.
I have one question about the project.
Yes.
So for the elicitation technique, so where should
Yes.
we put it in the PDF SRS template?
Where you want to put it? During your
Yes.
requirements gathering too?
Requirement gathering.
Yeah.
So it is in introduction part, is it?
Oh, I have to look at the, hold on, yeah. I have to look at the slides. I got to look at the SRS again, yeah. Who is this speaking?
Farid. Doctor.
Sorry?
Farid.
Farid, yeah? Farid.
Yes.
Hold on, Farid. I think there is a place, but I have to check it out. Yeah, there's no specific features that ask for the elicitation techniques. Yes, you're right. But you can insert at the appendix B if you want. Yeah, please. I will put notes there. Can you put in appendix B where you put analysis model, and then you can put the elicitation technique that you use in the appendix B. Number 6, other requirements, right? In the appendix B, we ask you for analysis model. So because actually based on your requirements, you're going to develop the analysis model, if there is any lah, yeah. But you can also mention the way that you're going to elicit. You have elicited your requirements. What other techniques do you use actually? Can you?
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Doctor.
I put note there. Yeah, later on so everyone should know. Appendix B should also include the elicitation techniques. Thank you, Farid, for asking.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Okay, another thing I want to highlight before I forget, yeah, about your quiz, yeah. Sorry, I haven't experienced this before. After many years that I teach, Actually, when I put the quiz, you only have to attempt one time. One time, all right? So it so happened that I saw many of you attempting more than one time. So I will take the first one, the first attempt that you have only. Yeah, because my purpose is not about try to, I don't know what is the objective, try to attempt so many times, but maybe I don't put in the guidelines, yeah. I know because it's online, I cannot check on you. Yeah, so you can try many attempts, and the system has that loophole as well. They allow many attempts. Yeah. But what I need is just one attempt. Yeah. I just want to see how you can answer it. It's no point having to try so many times. It doesn't serve the purpose. Yeah. Yeah. Can everyone do that? Yeah. So for the next quiz, please do only one time. Yeah, I know I cannot control everyone. Yeah, I know also some of you might have problems. Yeah, but please, yeah, I already mentioned in the what we call the announcement, the time. So please, yeah, I don't want to make another quiz for someone because they don't do the test or they don't do the quiz. Yeah, please be fair to me. Yeah, because I also have many courses that I have to teach. Yeah, so please, if there's already mentioned to you the time, so please do the test. So the two problem occurs just now. One is that the students attempt many times. Yeah. So I resolve it by I just choose the first attempt that you have. Yeah. Another problem, I already mentioned the quiz time. Yeah. Ahead of time. Yeah. Even I already mentioned in the earlier, this is going to be. So please be serious about it. Do it during the time. You know, please understand, it's no point that I try to open again for you the same quiz. Yeah, it defeat the purpose. Yeah, at the same time, I cannot create a new test just because you are the one, or maybe one or two of you didn't take the test or didn't take the quiz. Yeah, please be fair to me. Yeah, so similarly, yeah, for quiz 1 is 25% of your test. Yeah, I be very lenient. Yeah, because I open so long for you, 40 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes, and then I give you ahead of time as well. Yeah, to ensure to you these are the things. Yeah, that you need to be covered by the test. Yeah, and so please take seriously. Yeah, please take seriously for the quiz. Quiz 1, quiz 2. I don't know if you don't take the quiz, the effect will be on you. Yeah. The impact will be on you, not for me. Yeah, so please, yeah, we already compromised basically. Yeah, the test is quite easy. It's just that, I mean, it's just quiz, but at the same time you have to be serious. Yeah, about taking the test, about taking the quiz, not so many times, and please do it during the time given. Yeah, the 4 hours that I open to you, I think is more than enough for most of you. But if you face problem, because of the system down in your area, Wi-Fi down and so on, then please contact me immediately lah. For that particular reason, that is different. But to say that please open, I don't take it, please open, I think that is not professional. As a student, you're going to go out later on, to work. So you cannot just say to your boss, I cannot do it. This is not available. I cannot do it. So I think that is not proper. To do it. So we try to be respectable to between us. You have to. I really respect you as a student, but please also make sure that you follow the regulation that has been set lah. For the quiz and so on. Okay. Try to submit your presentation, but of course, if you have some kind of problems, technical problems, you are welcome, but please don't make that as an excuse, to submit late and so on. Okay. Okay, everyone.
Doctor, for quiz 1, I have asked a few questions. So can I know whether they are acceptable?
You have asked a few. That one, or I already correct, because I have one typo just now in the question. I already corrected, and don't worry about that. I already add 1 marks to the one that is that has been wrong by the system. Okay, Kishore? There is no issue, no problem. I'm going to already fix that one. Except that, please, the 2 issues just now that I mentioned to you. Please attempt the quiz once, and then secondly, please please do the quiz during the time assigned to you. Yeah, so it's not proper for you to ask me again to open because you are not able to do the quiz. Yeah, all right. Okay, Kishore. All right, thank you so much. Any more questions?
Hi, Doctor. I have
Yeah.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
So our next quiz will be on 14th of June, as
Yes,
shown in our spread.
correct. You're right.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Yeah, we have a discussion. I think it's a discussion on tutorial tomorrow. Yeah. It's similar lah. You please collaborate on the tutorial that I shared already with you. Okay, so we're going to discuss about it. But if you have any questions about your projects, you can still ask during that time.
Doctor, I just have a question about the quiz. So the quiz will not be the same lessons. It will be the lessons from when we had the first quiz until the end, yeah?
You mean the quiz 1 and quiz 2? Yeah, the coverage will be different lah. The first one is the week 1 to week 6, right? Quiz 1.
Yeah.
And the quiz 2 will be the rest.
The rest, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not all included, it will be just the rest.
Correct. Okay, Mariana. Any more questions?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much for the participation. If not, then we see you tomorrow, inshallah. Yeah. Yes, Muhammad Najmi. All right, so what is the question, Najmi? Sorry, I didn't follow you, Najmi, sorry. What is your question again?
I asked the questions on the personal chat to you.
On the
Microsoft Teams.
But what, Najmi? I'm sorry.
I think I asked about we already finished our class diagram. Can you check it for us?
All right, so Najmi, you shared it just now, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I check it out.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Najmi. All right, anything else?
Doctor, how many system features must be there? The minimum.
How many?
System
Diagram.
features.
System features. Actually, I would expect, more than 5, please. Yeah, because this is like to look for your creativity. More than, if you have more than 10 also will be beneficial, will be good. Because you just specifying those features, right? Yeah, so try to, give a more, kind of features that you think is appropriate to be used for the system. More features, much better.
Right.
Is it okay?
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, because I don't want, because later on you're going to do your projects models. You're going to have your final year projects after this, yeah? Next semester, another 2 semesters, I guess, yeah, most of you. So this is like an exercise for you, yeah? Try to think about the features that you can provide. Similarly, when you do your final year projects later on, you're going to propose features as well, functionalities and so on, yeah? So be creative, yeah? Try to think about new, not just log in, register, I just have to print. So that's a very, very basic functionalities. Try to think out of the box a little bit. What are other functionalities that you can provide? Yeah, be creative a little bit. Look at existing system. You can see there are many around you. Yeah, so try to think about it. Yeah, and try to apply for your situation, because this is the best time to apply, because you're not going to develop. I know if you think, if you are thinking ahead of developing, then you'll be very, very, very cautious. I think this is difficult. I cannot, later on develop. But this is just try to think, what kind of functionalities that can be useful in your projects, in your systems. Yeah, so you can use whatever creativity that you have. Yeah, more than having the limited features. Having just a limited, these are the things. Yeah, very, very basic. Yeah, so I don't want that to happen. Yeah, I want it to be more open. Yeah, try to propose whatever features that you think will be beneficial. I would see your creativity here. Yeah, try to make use of them. Okay. Okay, everyone. Okay, no problem so far. Okay, never mind. You just email to me if you have any issue. Yeah. and we see you tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Doctor.